Okay, guys, hello and welcome to another conversation with Rob. Today, I have a very, very cool guy from Spain. He is the founder of Spanish Libertarian YouTube channel, which has nearly 50,000 subscribers. Congratulations. It's
Thank you.
Ignasi Boltó, and he is over in Barcelona. How are you keeping today, Ignasi?
Thanks, Rob. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm doing well as I can be confined, but these days I'm trying to use my time as efficiently as wise as possible. I'm starting new projects. I'm trying to think, to reflect, and also I'm having a beer here with you.
Yes,
So
get it in.
let's have fun, please.
Absolutely. So I was on your podcast last month. I think it was last month or the month before, and thank you for bringing me on. So I decided maybe
My pleasure.
let's have you on my podcast because you're obviously making waves in the libertarian community in Spain. And
Hmm.
if I could only understand Spanish, I would love to hear the interviews that you've done with a lot of the really prominent Spanish-speaking libertarians in the world. But
Yeah.
you
Good
have
point.
spoken to like Juan Rayo. You've spoken to
Yeah.
Gloria Alvarez, who
Yeah.
is amazing. Um, Tell us a little bit about your channel and what it is that you
Okay.
do, and what's the
Okay, but
point?
before that, only a point that you mentioned. This language barrier is super important, and I've been thinking about it all the time. And maybe thanks to this confinement, maybe more people can download these Duolingo apps and shit,
Yeah,
because it's a shame because as English is the most important language in the world, we only think about the English or American thinkers, let's say. But I can say that in Spain and in Latin America, there are great thinkers, and I'm trying to build a community around that. And actually, talking about that, I can answer your question. I started the Spanish Libertarian YouTube channel in 2014. Okay, to make the long story short, there's a communist in Spain called Pablo Iglesias, with who nowadays he's the vice president. I don't know how we reached there, but he used to be a journalist, and actually he was a pretty good journalist. And he had this program called Fort Apache, like in the Western movies, and it was awesome because there were like three liberal, conservative, libertarian-oriented journalists or thinkers, and three socialist, social democrats, even hardcore socialists on the other side.
wow,
And he was the host, and he was pretty objective, and the program was awesome. And I remember at the end of the program they gave 1 minute to each one of the speakers, and usually the libertarian, they use this minute to absolutely smash and destroy the socialists and their arguments, and it was awesome. And as my job is to be a film editor and filmmaker, I thought, what if I make extracts from that precise videos, and I don't know, like extracts from conferences, etc. And I did it, and it was quite well, reasonably quite well. Then you mentioned Juan Ramon Rayo. Juan Ramon Rayo came to Barcelona, and I recorded the conference. And actually, I did a take called it's like a question: does libertarianism benefit the rich people? Because he was answering to a typical communist
mm,
socialist question slash rant, and it was viral. So my channel started growing,
amazing.
and then since 2 years ago, I started making interviews to YouTubers and libertarian thinkers from the Spanish and Latin American community, even non-libertarian leaning thinkers, even non-political discussion thinkers. And so far I've done like 160 something interviews, which is amazing, which is a gift. And I'm not making this for the money, not the fame or something. I just want to fit my brain and
Yeah,
my curiosity. And also, thanks to the internet, if I have the chance of sharing it with someone else, cool. But I don't know. This I always say to the guests that no. Yeah, to the guests. Sorry, I always confuse guest and host. I always say to the guests that they are giving me a gift with their presence and their knowledge. And I don't know, I have 1 hour, 160 hours of gifts and
Yeah,
knowledge that I also share. No, I'm pretty happy so far.
for sure. My colleague in Students for Liberty, Andres, he actually became a libertarian in large part because of your channel, because it was
It's
there,
possible.
because you had a lot of interviews with prominent people. So he
Yeah,
was like, wow, these are fascinating, and it made him get more into the
yeah,
ideas. So you definitely are making an impact, and it's global. So yeah,
it is.
congratulations. How did you get into libertarianism? What was your awakening?
Yeah. Also, to make the long story short, I always remember when I was a child, and I'm literally saying like 6 years old and shit. And my grandma, and my parents, and the teachers, they always say like, you should do this and you should do that and you should think this and you should blah blah blah. And I said, this is in Catalan, "Jo manu de mi," with the translation is, I rule myself.
Mm,
And now that I think about it, I rule myself couldn't be the more libertarian argument or statement ever. I rule myself. So I guess these kind of ideas have always been with me. And when I say I rule myself, I'm not implying that I don't care about people. I don't care about others. Others actually, quite the opposite. I consider myself a very or pretty empathetic person, and I like to be around people. So these days of confinement, the Zoom and the Skypes are pretty important to me. But then also as a filmmaker in 2012, I think it was, I did a documentary traveling around Spain, interviewing, wait for it, leftists. Interview leftists because of this project. And I guess I was a leftist anti-capitalist because there's this part of this anti-capitalists that I think they are anti-government,
mm,
at least the left
yeah.
libertarian ones. And I think I could agree with that. But then when I was talking to them and I said like, oh, there are pretty things that make no sense. And then thanks to Ron Paul in 2013, more or less, I started being really interested in this. And just one story. I remember one day I was with an American friend. He was a typical hippie guy, super open-minded. We were at the circus training or something like that, and I said, "Wow, have you ever heard about this Ron Paul? He make these anti-war speeches and pro-individual responsibility and the old American values. And what do you think?" And it was like, wow, it was like, I don't know, super anti-system, super revolutionary. And he was like, no, he's hardcore right wing. And it was like, what?
Mm,
So I remember exactly these days because aren't the hippie, no? Aren't you supposed to be the open-minded, to live and let live guy? And why are you having these biases? Why do you want to use this strawman fallacy? And then I don't know, Ron Paul and some other books. Actually, a book of Ron Paul, I remember reading it when I was in the mountain. These vivid moments. Like it's like, wow, I think I've been waiting all my life for this. But to this man, I don't. How can I say? I don't like to worship ideas.
mm,
I don't want to be a hostage. Hostage
yeah.
would be the word. A
Hostage. Yeah.
hostage of ideas, because I see many people that they want to virtue signal. They want to show up how libertarian they are, and I couldn't care less about libertarian or libertarianism, so to speak, because I'm not here for the movement. I'm not here for the label. I'm here for the ideas. I'm here for the values and the ethics and for critical thinking, because critical thinking at the end, to me, is the ultimate goal, to try to find some truth and meaning in this
Mm,
life. And if the libertarian movement, and I think more or less it is the path through that, because we believe, let's say, in individual responsibility, limited government, blah blah blah. I want to say that I'm not blind activist. I'm more for critical thinking, And if someone says, I'm a socialist, but I love your channel, I'm fine with that. I'm for openness and diversity. I
Yeah, I
like
love
this
that.
kind of concepts in society.
Yeah, I love that. What's the situation been like in Spain over this chaotic, crazy time? Is it I've actually heard that they're opening up some industry and it's
Yeah.
not so much of a lockdown anymore. What's the status now where you are?
I don't know, man. Everything is really strange. And I as much as I hate conspiracy theories, I want to embrace it because I cannot understand this government. They are not serious. And I'm not saying this because they are socialist or left leaning. They are not serious. They are not assuming their responsibilities. They act pretty late. Just the 8th of March here. Here it's worldwide. The Women's Day, and the feminists, they go out on the street and they do the demonstration, etc., which is completely fine. I'm not against that. And for example, in Madrid, there were like 120,000 people in the street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about 8th of March.
Mm.
The 9th of March, the government appeared on TV. We're closing the schools and we're going to make the lockdown, blah, blah, blah. And then the final day, I think it was 11, more or less, 11 of
Yeah.
March. I don't remember exactly. So you're telling me that 2 or 3 days ago, you are telling to the people that they have to go in the street and they have to celebrate and they have to be there. And then I don't know, you tell the truth, more or less. I don't know if they're even telling the truth. And there's plenty of things. They have been buying tests from a pirate enterprise in China, and then they spend millions, and this shit doesn't work.
Same happened in Ireland, by the way.
Spain, but politicians, you know how they are, you know how they act. I hope that this confinement helps us to grow as a society.
Yeah.
I'm a truly believer in civil society. I think civil society, and not even the market, because the market is like disperse a statement. No one really understands what it really means. So I think that if society and individuals can understand that we cannot trust the politicians, maybe the outcome of this confinement is good. But yeah, it's pretty chaotic. I actually run a business. I don't know if I can open it or not. I'm a freelancer. I don't know if they are going to give me money or not. I know people that they are running businesses and they have to hire people, and the government says that they will give you the 70% of the salary, but no one has received the money yet. And I don't know, the debt. How are we going to pay the debt and the deficit? It's been hard days. And I don't know, there are no adults in politics. It's pretty sad. And we, the voters, and we, the citizens, and we, the taxpayers, we put them to make this job, and they're not doing this job. And it really pisses me off.
Yeah, leadership at this time is something that I really wish was present.
Yeah, and I don't care about your Portugal. They are left leaning. They are doing a better job. So good for them. This is not a battle of labels. But yeah, leadership. Exactly. That's the key concept these days, Rob.
Mm. What's Portugal doing that you think Spain could be doing?
I don't know exactly, but I think they have taken precautions previous to us. And the confinement is and also the Portugal's economy is more or less thriving. And although they are social democrats, they have this openness to be more business friendly. And I don't know, I think they are just more responsible. Tell the truth to the people.
Yeah.
Here we have the feeling that we are going through the Argentinian and Venezuelan's path.
Oh, no.
Because the socialist party called PSOE, they are allied with Podemos, that they are openly hardcore socialists, so to speak, and they are talking to nationalized enterprises, blah, blah, blah. And here I know many people, from instance, from Argentina, Venezuela, and I've been talking to friends, and they have been crying. Like, I escaped from our country in search of freedom.
Yeah.
now I find these assholes in here.
Coming from me here now in Spain.
Yeah, this is serious. I mean, we're not joking. This is serious. We are talking about the lives of people. It's crazy. It's
Mm.
crazy. I know people, they are doctors too, and they tell me that they are improvising. They don't have any kind of leadership from the government about any plan. I don't know, man. Spain, you love it and you hate it.
Well, at the same time, I think this is a global problem, right? You've got people who are finding that these institutions are failing them. These institutions that we had trusted for so long, the
Yeah,
healthcare systems that are, you know, raised to the roof by society. Oh, the healthcare system, it's
yeah,
so good and so prepared. We might want to revise some of those conclusions that we had about these institutions that are there to
yeah.
protect us. Because as much as you want to say that, oh, it's great that everybody that gets looked after, this pandemic, I think, has shown that they're all, you know, leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah, and also you have to be able to afford it.
Mm.
It's that simple. I don't care if it's public or private in these days of crisis, but you have to be able to afford it. Sometimes I hear the argument, and I guess this is the most common, as Frederic Bastiat said, what is sin and what is not sin.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have the best system. Yeah, but your grandchild is going to pay it. It's actually being paid. Actually, the child that they are not born are already paying it.
Exactly.
It's not sustainable. You know, no one wants to be this politically incorrect guy in the meeting who tells the truth.
That's another interesting comment that I was talking to my friends today about this, and telling the truth these days is almost, it's just people in society don't really want you to name those truths because they create a lot of discomfort. And I'm sure your channel does create a lot of discomfort for people because you're poking at some uncomfortable realizations about society and in society.
Actually, I don't think it creates this uncomfortability because, how can I say? I love this quote that it's easy to lie to people, but it's no it. Yeah, it's easy to lie to people, but it's harder to demonstrate that you're being fooled. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the people who come to my channel, so to speak, they have been already more or less
Exposed, right?
red pilled.
Yeah.
So you enter into the rabbit hole
Yeah.
and say like, "Oh my God, these libertarians guys, what the fuck?" And actually, these days, friends from the school that I haven't been talking with them for 15 years. Man, I love your channel. Wow. I'm watching two or three interviews per day, and it's like,
Brilliant.
oh my God. But yeah, this thing about telling the truth. I try to use two strategies, if you don't mind. So if someone is adult and brave enough to actually have a discussion, I try to smash him as hard as I can, so to speak. I mean,
Yeah.
not physically, but in the use of arguments. But actually, I'm not doing this almost anymore because I think political correctness and also the social expenditure. I don't know if that's a word. So we are all social animals. No one wants to be
Yeah.
right and be alone.
Yeah.
You know, I guess the use of euphemisms, and sometimes you just have to see that some people, if not most people, are just good-hearted, but they haven't been exposed to different ideas, and they haven't been exposed to actually have critical and rational thinking. So I try not to interfere. Like, if that's what you think,
Yeah.
as older I am getting, the less conflict and I want to be involved with. Like, I see your soul, I see you are a nice person, and what you're saying, it's absolutely biased, absolutely disconnected from reality. But what do I want to? What can I make? Also, many years ago, I appeared at the. I don't know if you know Stefan Molyneux.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him?
Mm-hmm.
The podcast many years ago. My English was even more terrible than it is right now. And I remember we were talking about this communicating philosophy to friends and family, and he shared a quote with me. He said, it's irrational to appeal to people's rationality. And it was like, boom, this kind of bombs. So if I take you from the shirt, from the t-shirt drop, and I start like, be rational, be rational, don't you see? That's not rational itself. That's not understanding how people operate. So if you want to believe in certain lies, okay, I'm cool with that. But I'm making another project in order to win this intellectual battle. So I guess my peace of mind, so to speak, comes from having this channel. And people, if the people wants to be red pilled, so to speak, you know, it's open, it's free. There's 160 hours of content, as I was saying before.
Yeah, I like that. And I guess what I meant before was that when you meet somebody's irrationality, it's like they don't want their biases to be broken. They almost want you to like allow them to have their irrationality.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I meant. And I imagine those people watching your channel and actually being forced to listen might be like, if they, you know, made those realizations.
Yeah, I think this is. I think I don't have any statistics, but I think this is a minimum part of societies. I think most of the people, they care about their family.
Sure.
They care about having a job. They care about being a good person, and they care about paying their taxes. They care about having holidays and be able to afford it. But the thing is that left-leaning ideologies, they have, in Spain we call the relato. Relato, it means the discourse, the storytelling. They have the story blended. They have the story already explained to the people's minds. I don't know if you have ever heard about Antonio Gramsci. He was a Marxist author from Italy, and he said that I don't know, reality is based on concepts and words, so to speak. If you rule these words and concepts, you will rule people's minds. And I think that's super clever and perverse at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of marketing, so to speak. I guess the common Joe the plumber, he's a good guy, he's a decent guy, but then he says, no, but the government should take care of this. It's like, no. But the thing is that someone who is smarter than Joe the plumber has already sold perfectly and marketized these kind of ideologies. And maybe we could link to that with the self-criticism of libertarian movement that I've been pushing for self-criticism and I don't know, the cultural battle, so to speak. I think we have to fight it, and we are not doing it. And talking about truth, I think the libertarians don't want to hear that.
yeah, that's quite true. There's definitely a optics problem in libertarianism that, and like I've never read Gramsci, but I've heard that like he talked about that, and there's people who point the finger and call bullshit on other parts of things that he's written. But that is true when it comes to the individual. Individuals run off inner narratives. You know, I'm a coach, right? So I help people change their own inner narrative. Most of the problems that people have is that they are reflecting upon themselves in a negative way. They see themselves in an ugly light. So
your own monologue, no?
Exactly. And so when obviously you talk about the left using the narrative, the moral narrative of why it's good to protect society and use that, having that as the main narrative, of course, is going to get you lots of people not having to think so much and going, yeah, but this is the good way. Yeah, we want to look after.
It's a clever move. There's an author that from Argentina called Agustin Laje, or I don't know if it was him precisely, but so in 1989 it fell the Berlin Wall, right? Mm-hmm. So we, the liberals and capitalists, said, okay, we got it. It's done. We've won the narrative. But no, these post-Marxists, so to speak, they were smarter. Yeah, they were smarter. And they just based their efforts and energy on the narrative. And they have taken ecology, or or environment, excuse me, or feminism, or egalitarianism, or you name it, the minority that that you want to fit in. So we live in a strange times. There hasn't been more prosperity ever. Tomorrow it's going to be a more prosperous global system than yesterday, but still they are winning the narrative. So we thought we won, so to speak, the Cold War, but they have been working. And I think we can use this strategy and these rhetorics and this, we were talking about leadership before, there's leadership strategies in order to win not only the capitalist battle, are also the cultural battle, and also we have to create the narrative in order to differentiate from neoconservative, and neoliberals, because some of the people tend, I don't know in Ireland, but in Spain and Latin American, they use a strawman because they said, are you a liberal? No, you're a neoliberal. You are pro corporations. You're pro crony capitalism. You are pro shady shaking hands from the government and big enterprises. And that's a legitimate argument. I mean, they are right. But that's not what classical liberalism and libertarianism is about. So we have to spend more energy and wisdom in marketing, I could say. And I know marketing, maybe it's not or marketing or
it is
winning
marketing,
the marketplace of ideas. But yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's marketing. But intellectuals and thinkers, they don't want to get their hands dirty like marketing. Yeah, that's for political science. You know what I mean? I know we should get this in absolutely consideration. I don't know, take Noam Chomsky or authors like that. They usually come from the linguistical studies, psychology studies, and some of the liberals, they are, I don't know, lawyers, economists. We have another, I don't know, brain connections. We are another archetype, but these days of confinement, even especially, I think we should reinvent ourselves. And no one wants to talk about that. I was giving a speech about effective communication and so on in the LibertyCon event. Actually, you were there. And I don't know, the response was good, but I don't know, I feel lonely because we are humans too. Libertarians are humans. Shocking news, no? We are humans. We have biases. We have what's this bias that you only want to cherry picking information? Confirmation biases. We also love echo chambers because we are humans and it's fine. But we have to be honest. We are not winning the battle. We always say that we have the best ideas. Yeah, if they are so good, why I'm not opening the news and I see it on there? Something we are doing something wrong. Let's be honest. I mean, as I always say, honesty is the best policy.
Yeah, for sure. That's really interesting. I'm gonna think about that.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but
no. I think you are right. I definitely think you are right because it's always been the case that the ideas aren't sexy enough. Almost, you have an event and it's like this is all very theoretical. It's not very
exactly. But who is investing energy in this? Yeah, and the next conference is 2 hours about anarcho-capitalism versus minarchism. Oh, yeah. Exciting. Yeah, I'm going to bring my girlfriend to watch this exciting event. Come on. Give me an effing break.
Yeah. Let's jump in.
Maybe it's the beer. Rob, it's your fault.
I don't know. You've only had one. Come on.
But you're Irish. You're more trained than I. No, excuse me.
Let's jump into people in culture who you respect, right? I know you like Frank Zappa. Tell me about Frank Zappa and how he he worked this. What was it that you admired about his way of being?
Well, we've changed the topic, but I'm glad that you mentioned him. I could be talking hours about Frank Zappa because I really love him. My father introduced me to his music when I was 12, and I guess not the majority of 12 years old, are into Frank Zappa's music, but also it was like a rabbit hole that I was mentioning before. Like solos and strange lyrics. I didn't understand English at that time, but solos, music, harmony. And then as I started understanding English, I understood the lyrics, and also I understood the interviews, and understood the conferences, and I realized that he was more than a musician. He was more like a thinker or an artist or an
Mm.
activist, I could say. He was, I think, a classical liberal and libertarian. He wanted to be the president of the United States. He stayed against Al Gore, by the way, against this, um, yeah, this labeling of what's the name? Fuck. Um, yeah, this disclaimer. Excuse me. The parent advisor, and he was against that, and he had this his own parent advisor. Like this label, maybe it makes you think for yourself. He was like super sarcastic. I recommend you and the audience to check his interviews. He was like mean but nice
Mm.
and sarcastic and thoughtful. To me, he's the best. There's a video. I think it was in 1993. I don't know if it was months before he passed away or months after he passed away. I don't remember. But the title was Zappa's Universe. And I've been reflecting about that because he was literally a universe like of music and filmmaking and thinking and being countercultural. He was against drugs. He was against hippies, but also his music was like super irreverent. He was against Republicans too. So a truly unlabeled, yeah, you cannot label a truly individual, a truly thinker, and a truly genius to me, and he inspires me a lot. And also, and even I think to myself, like, now I'm 35 years old. So Zappa was 1975. What was he doing? Yeah, he was doing these New York concerts. I remember. So, sorry, I'm super freak. And actually, I recommend you this his book, the Real Frank Zappa book. He talked about parentship, by the way. That now I'm a recent parent. I will try to use his advices. But I don't know. To me, it's been an inspiration also for being an individual, to think for yourself, to try to be smart, try to be creative, and at the end, who fucking cares? Just be yourself. But how can I define it? So because he was a conservative, so to
Yeah,
speak, but he wasn't a Republican, and
yeah.
and I love that he had this hippie attitude, super liturgical LSD, but he was against drugs. And this surprises me, and
Yeah.
I try to use this strategy in my life, and I try to make it legitimately, not like I want to be like him because I'm a
Mm.
groupie. So I like being myself. But this, if I was a child, and I was explaining to you before, I think I rule myself,
Mm.
no. So maybe I have something in common with this guy, and I don't know. I'm so sad that he passed away when he was only 53. But there are 60 albums of legacy, tons of interviews, a unique individual. Thanks for this question, because I'm not getting tired enough about talking about Zappa. I care more about Zappa than libertarianism, to be honest.
Wow. You made me really curious now. I have to, because I never really got into Frank Zappa's music, but
Yeah,
I had seen him being interviewed and tearing the idea of the drug war apart, and
yeah.
also hearing him, as a conservative, it's kind of a left field opinion and stance to take against, drugs. They're usually just like, no drugs, drugs are bad, but that's a very measured and interesting response. Yeah.
Hmm.
You're also a musician like myself.
Yeah, I see the guitar behind you. Cool.
You like when I first got exposed to you showed me a video, class video, where you created
Oh, yeah.
instruments. You
Oh,
created instruments. Now this is amazing. You create
yeah.
kind of flutes out of
This is the part
hope.
of the
Like,
interview where it gets cringy.
it gets amazing. This is talent, Ignasi. You have to own this shit. This is amazing
Okay. Okay.
because you learned how to use hose pipes to make amazing sounds. Have you got one there? Like, I'd really be interested. Wow.
Yeah, I prepared one for you and your audience.
Oh,
Rob.
this is amazing.
Okay.
This is amazing.
So a friend, well, I started playing drums, and then I continued playing drums, and then percussion, and then guitar, and then more or less piano, and then
And I bet you're self-taught.
yeah,
Of course.
and also flutes. 10 years ago, I started with this amazing flute called Bansuri.
Wow.
This is the flute from India. And then I started with more instruments. Actually, I'm quite a collectionist, more or less. If you want, I can perform more or less.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, this works like this. This sounds more or less like the Irish whistle, right?
Yeah.
But then we have the big guy, and I did it myself.
Wow. What's that made out of?
Plastic.
Wow.
This is the champagne.
The cork.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the translation. This is the big one. You need big fingers. Excuse me.
Amazing.
Fuck, I don't practice enough.
It's great though. It's great.
Okay,
Obviously,
then,
being self-taught, amazing.
Yeah. We could talk also about Indian music. That's another rabbit hole. And then I had this. This is the gardener's tube.
The hose.
A friend of mine showed me how to make this. So here you make this double reed, right?
Yeah.
This is like a bassoon or oboe made out of plastic. It sounds like this. Let's see if it works.
It's amazing. That is amazing.
Woo!
You produced a video showing people how to make their own. Which is
I did it. Yeah.
Pure class. I'll link that below.
Oh fuck. Yeah, well. I have to practice more, and also these are not properly done because it requires
the tuning. That to me is phenomenal.
Pretty complicated.
How you figured it out.
Also, I have this. This is I don't know what this is. This is from Bulgaria. It's called Kaval.
Beautiful.
This is super complicated. And the last one, this is from Iran. You're going to freak out. It goes like this, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my girlfriend is pretty happy. Yeah, being sarcastic. No, I don't play enough. I don't play enough. But I use this only for fun purposes, and also for cultural purposes, because I guess also you could use it as a metaphor with music or food or, I don't know, architecture.
Mm.
You can learn about the world only learning about their differences and on their cultures, and I guess music and food. So I don't know, this is from Iran, but then this is from the Balkans, and you see differences. And if you hear the music, it's quite different and it moves
Yeah.
around. So I try to also with I don't know, as in the Spanish Libertarian channel. So I'm a very curious person, and I try to use music in order to learn, in order to learn the skill that. Excuse me. We could talk about that. Being a musician, it teaches you many different values and many different skills that you can use in your daily life. And I love that to I don't know, change the discipline and then use that knowledge from this discipline in, I don't know, making an interview or developing a project or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love covering other people's music. I have a channel dedicated to that where I have like 250 covers or something. And
Really?
yeah, I love doing that. I love just like taking a moment, just sitting with my guitar and learning a song that I grew up listening to. I love playing the 80s music and 70s music.
Yeah, we are pretty nostalgic.
Yeah. But you're right in what you say about it giving you some sort of a discipline. Because when I do that, it gives me that sense of, okay, finish it, complete it. Don't just
Mhm.
leave it. Don't just say it's too hard and get away from it. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost an ego dent if you move away without completing something. So you're
Yeah.
right in
Yeah.
that regard.
I never wanted to be a musician professionally because I don't want to be poor.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Musicians, I'm joking. No, but because I love music, and that's it. That's the most important part to me. And also, I guess I could say that if I am something, I'm a semi-professional drummer, even percussion. Also, I attended to percussion classes for 3, 4, or 5 years, so I'm more or less taught in that. And I don't know, for example, if you are in percussion playing with other
Mm,
performers, and I don't care if they're amateur or professionals, you have to, I don't know, because at the end it's a language. You have to hear yourself, you have to hear others,
yeah.
you have to maintain the tempo, you have to use volume, you have to use sensibility,
Mm,
you have to remember what do you like from other musicians and try to apply it and
yeah.
make it yours when you're performing it. You have to use silence, you have to use, I don't know, energy,
Yeah.
you have to open your ears, you have to say, you have to know what to say in order to say something. And I'm telling you this because this, I don't know, last minute or these last 30 seconds, you can apply this to many different social interactions or many different skills. And I guess, I don't know if I could say I'm a better person or if I am a more sensible guy thanks to music, but it, I don't know if it fits your brain or fits your soul, if you want to be more poetic, but it's something to take in consideration. I don't know if I don't care if you're a financial analyst or if you work as the garbage man. Having some time for yourself and having something that you can express yourself
Yes.
actually live, because like do something now, Rob. Play a song now, make a solo, try to impress this audience. You have to be super aware, you have to give your best, and you have to know yourself and rely on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think this is pretty useful. I think it has helped me. And as I was telling you before, I don't care. I don't want to be in a huge stadium because I want to feel to be the most rock star. I remember many years ago, we were in Morocco helping a friend to make an hostel. Well, long story. And we spent like 5 or 6 hours playing music with friends that we just met. And it was awesome. I
That
will
is
remember
amazing.
it
Yeah.
all my life because that's what music is all about, like sharing a nice experience, sharing a nice feeling. Do it something that it's going to be there because you
Yeah.
play the song and it's gone, you
It's
know.
an improvisation in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. There's something. Maybe I'm getting too spiritual in here, but there's something in art that I think it's pretty important and meaningful. Because also, I don't know. Coming back to libertarianism, if your life is being ranting on Facebook and Twitter 24/7, like, well, to lower my taxes, like, are you sure you really want to be that kind of a person? You have
Yeah.
to, I don't know, more aspects, more perspective in your own personality. At
Absolutely.
least that's how I see it.
Absolutely. Listen, man, I'm definitely gonna grab a beer with you next time I'm in Barcelona, and if you're
Okay,
ever in Dublin, let's do it. I really enjoyed
I
this.
will.
Thank you so much for the conversation. You're an
Yeah,
awesome guy.
my
Really are.
pleasure. I was in Dublin many years ago. I really enjoy it, and I'm not a hard drinker, so I expect I don't be like too much fucked up.
In a past life, I used to be, but I take it easy
Okay.
nowadays.
Cool. Exactly. Take it easy. That's a great life lesson.
Exactly. Is there any links that you'd like me to share below? I'm definitely going to link to your YouTube channel. I know that
Yeah.
you work as a editor and a videographer. Would you like to?
Nah, don't worry. That's just money related stuff.
Are you down on the
Yeah.
money? Come on.
No. But I mean, in this aspect, I will share the Spanish Libertarian. Also, I have many interviews in English. I have some conferences in English. Yeah, feel free to reach me out. My email is libertarianspanish at gmail.com. And also, the final message maybe is that I try to be a creative person. I try to develop projects, and I encourage people to I don't know, not to make the same, to do the same that I do. But as I always say, find a reason to waking up each morning.
I love that.
If you are, I don't know, if apathy is what defines you, you're doing something wrong. But also the contrary, if over enthusiastic, I guess apathy is a bad idea, but also being over enthusiastic also a bad idea. As you were mentioning before, maybe the middle path,
Hmm.
as the Buddhists used to say, it's the wisest way of living life.
Absolutely. Let's do this again sometime. You the man.
When you
Thank
were
you.
man, take care.
All the best.
Happy confinement and happy confinement to your audience.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
Bye.